Imagine an open field. The wind rushes through manes, carrying the scent of damp earth and wild grasses. Hooves strike the soft ground, the sound echoing like a distant drum, rhythmic, ancestral. You stand there, by the fence, observing. And then it happens. The horse lifts its head, nostrils flare, and it begins to run. Not because it was told to, not because there is danger. It runs because it can. And there is something in that movement that touches something deep within you, something you may have forgotten existed. A question arises almost naturally, floating in the air like the dust kicked up by hooves. What does freedom mean to a horse? For us humans, freedom is an idea, a philosophical concept, something we debate, defend, write into constitutions. But for a horse, freedom is not abstract. It is a physical, immediate, non-negotiable sensation. It is the wind in its mane, the space to accelerate, the absence of restraint on its body. And when a horse perceives that this freedom has been taken away, something shifts. It doesn't pause to reflect on the situation. It doesn't ponder the reasons. It reacts. The entire body responds in fractions of a second, as if an internal siren has been triggered. It is not rebellion. It is not stubbornness. It is instinct, an impulse as ancient as the species itself, etched into every cell, every muscle fiber. It is the code of survival. Movement is life. Paralysis is death. For millions of years, this animal's ancestors learned a brutal, crystalline lesson. Hesitation means disappearance. Moving means continuing to exist. And this knowledge has never been unlearned. It is there, pulsing beneath the velvety skin, awaiting the slightest sign of threat to awaken. A strange sound, an unexpected shadow, a hand approaching too quickly. Anything can be the trigger. Today, you will discover what science and instinct reveal about this inner force that drives horses. You will understand why they react so swiftly to anything that threatens their space, be it a closing fence, an unknown sound, an altered voice, or the mere touch of an uncertain hand. We will explore the biology behind this behavior, the evolutionary roots that have shaped every reaction, and what it means for those who truly wish to connect with these animals. But more than that, we will reveal something few realize, something that can utterly transform how you see, touch, and relate to horses. Because understanding what freedom means to them is, at its core, understanding something essential about ourselves. Stay with me until the end. You'll never look at a horse the same way again. Most people believe that controlling a horse means teaching it to accept limits, putting on a saddle, holding the reins, making it obey commands. This is how we've been taught to view the relationship between humans and horses. Domestication signifies control. Training means submission. And a well-trained horse is one that does what you want, when you want, without question. But here's the truth that behavioral science has been revealing for the past few decades. The horse doesn't understand limits as we do. It doesn't possess the human concept of rules, obedience, or moral hierarchy. What it understands, with absolute clarity, is pressure and relief, comfort and discomfort, safety and threat. These are the languages its nervous system speaks. There is no translation for control in that vocabulary. There are only physical sensations that elicit immediate responses. You can confine it to a corral, tether it to a sturdy post, bind its legs with ropes, and it may even remain still, apparently calm. But look into its eyes. Observe the tension in its neck muscles, the rigidity in its posture, the way its ears constantly swivel, picking up every sound. Inside, something continues to strive for movement. The entire body is in a state of alert, every cell poised for reaction. Because forced immobility doesn't erase instinct, it merely compresses it, like a spring stretched to its maximum, awaiting the slightest opportunity to release pent-up energy. Domestication may have altered many things in horses over the past 6,000 years, but it hasn't erased what millions of years of evolution have profoundly inscribed within their bodies, their brains, their nervous systems. The imperative for movement, the urgency to flee when danger looms. And here lies the pivotal point that changes everything. The horse was not born to escape from you. It isn't trying to challenge you, humiliate you, or defeat you. This anthropomorphic interpretation of equine behavior has led to countless misunderstandings, frustrations, and even accidents. The truth is far simpler and, simultaneously, more profound. The horse was born to escape from fear. That is its fundamental programming. When it experiences fear, whether real or imagined, conscious or subliminal, its entire being shifts into survival mode. And survival, for a prey animal, has always meant the same thing: swift movement, a safe distance, room to maneuver. There's nothing personal about it. It's pure biology. And it is in this subtle, yet fundamental distinction that lies all the wisdom about what it truly means to be free. When you grasp this, everything shifts. Stubbornness reveals itself as fear. Aggression is exposed as defense. Flight transforms into self-preservation. And suddenly, that formidable, no-nay-tineri, bio-nay, terrifying creature is revealed for what it has always been, a being that feels, that reacts, that desperately seeks something we all seek, the sensation of safety, the possibility of existing without constant terror. And when you offer that to it, when you become a source of calm rather than a source of pressure, something extraordinary transpires. It chooses to stay, not because it was coerced, but because, for the first time, being near you feels safer than running away. This is what it means to understand freedom through the eyes of a horse. And the science behind it is as captivating as the poetry. The earliest ancestors of modern horses roamed the earth over 50 million years ago. Envision the planet back then. Dense forests, volatile climates, a world teeming with enormous, ravenous predators. Within this milieu emerged small dog-sized creatures known as eohippus. They were fragile, agile, with multi-toed feet, and they were perfect prey. They possessed no sharp claws. They wielded no venomous fangs. They couldn't camouflage like chameleons or defend themselves like porcupines. They had but one advantage: speed, and an exquisitely sensitive nervous system, capable of detecting peril before it became lethal. Those who hesitated, who took a beat too long to process an unfamiliar sound, who paused to investigate a fleeting shadow, simply vanished. Eaten, devoured, extinguished. They left no offspring. They did not propagate their genes. But those who reacted instantaneously, who fled before even fully comprehending what was transpiring, they survived, and they passed on not merely their genes, but an entire nervous system honed by natural selection. Generation after generation, for millions of years, the horse's very being was sculpted by a singular, unyielding genetic code. Movement is survival. Stillness is demise. Reacting swiftly is living another day. This code has never been erased. No matter how many generations have been born in stables, how many centuries they have been raised by humans, the programming remains intact, functioning flawlessly, 24 hours a day. This is precisely why a horse grazing peacefully can suddenly bolt, as if struck by an electric shock. To us, it appears to be an overreaction, but to its nervous system, it is survival. Even today, within the confines of a clean, safe stable, with guaranteed sustenance and no predators in sight, a horse's body still carries this ancestral code. Its cells respond to fear in the same manner as their wild counterparts on the plains thousands of years ago. The instant something is perceived as a threat, a biochemical cascade is triggered. The amygdala, that minuscule structure in the brain responsible for fear processing, dispatches urgent signals throughout the entire body. Adrenaline surges into the bloodstream. The heart rate escalates from 40 beats per minute to over 200 in mere seconds. Muscles tense, poised for explosive movement. Pupils dilate, allowing for the intake of more light, more visual information. Lungs expand, saturating the body with oxygen. All of this transpires before the horse has the capacity to think, to rationally assess the situation. This is why it startles at what you deem innocuous. A plastic bag caught in the wind, a sudden shadow, the rumble of an engine. To you, these are mere details. To its nervous system, they are potential predators. And it cannot afford the luxury of waiting for confirmation, because in the wild, waiting equates to demise. Thus, it reacts. It leaps aside, recoils, sometimes erupts into uncontrolled flight. And then, once it perceives that there is no genuine danger, it calms itself. But the body has already responded. The instinct has already fulfilled its role. Freedom, for the horse, is precisely this: the prerogative to heed the body's impulse when it screams danger. It is the power to choose direction when fear manifests. It is not being hindered from executing what millions of years of evolution have programmed as a survival response. Understanding this fundamentally alters one's perspective. Now, close your eyes for a moment and envision this scene with me. You are in a vast pasture, with distant mountains gracing the horizon. The sun is beginning its descent, painting the sky in hues of gold and orange. Before you stands a fence. And on the other side of this fence, a horse. It has been there for hours, grazing, quiescent, but you discern something in its posture, a subtle tension, ears perked, body poised as if in preparation. You open the gate, and then it happens. He doesn't walk. He explodes. Hooves pound the earth. His entire frame stretches into a full gallop. He runs, 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 and you watch, mesmerized. But observe something crucial. He doesn't flee afar. He doesn't vanish over the horizon. He runs in wide circles, leaps, shakes his head, neighs, and after a few minutes, he slows, he trots, he walks, and often, he returns near the fence, near you. This isn't flight. It's release. It's as if his body is saying, finally I can exist without constraint. Finally, I can follow what my nervous system is requesting. Finally, I can be what I was born to be. Freedom, for a horse, is not an abstract concept. It's a physiological state. It's when the nervous system returns to equilibrium, when accumulated tension dissipates through movement, when instinct meets no resistance. In that moment, something magical transpires within him. Every muscle relaxes. Every fiber vibrates in harmony with the wind. His heartbeat slows. His breath deepens. His eyes, previously wide and alert, soften, becoming almost languid. It is the antithesis of fear, and precisely why it is so potent. Because when a horse is free, truly free, it doesn't need to expend energy protecting itself. It can simply exist. Australian ethologist Andrew McLean, a preeminent authority on equine learning, terms this phenomenon behavior homeostasis. It is the organism's ceaseless pursuit of balance. The horse does not seek to cause trouble. It does not aim to be difficult. It simply desires to return to its natural state of calm, and when something impedes it, physically or emotionally, it endeavors to restore natural movement. When something threatens it, it attempts to repel danger. This is not rebellion. It is biology. It is an organism striving to maintain internal equilibrium in a world brimming with stimuli that trigger its alarm system. And here lies the crux few comprehend. If humans can offer sanctuary instead of confinement, if they can be a source of calm rather than pressure, the horse rests in their presence as if in an open field. It has no need to flee because it perceives no threat. True freedom is not the absence of fences. It is the absence of fear. This understanding revolutionizes everything. Training shifts from being about control to being about communication. The relationship transitions from domination to trust. And the horse, that powerful and sensitive animal, reveals itself as the teacher it has always been. It teaches us that safety doesn't stem from confinement, but from a calm presence. That trust isn't imposed, but offered. That respect isn't earned through force, but through emotional consistency. Every interaction with a horse is an opportunity to learn this ancient language, the language of body, of breath, of the subtle energy that flows between two living beings. And when you learn to speak this tongue, when your body communicates calm instead of tension, when your energy signals safety instead of threat, the horse responds, not because it's been trained, but because it has finally found what it was seeking, a space where it can be free without needing to flee. Herein lies the most profound paradox of all. We humans dream of taming the wild. There's something in our nature that desires to control, domesticate, render predictable that which was born free. We construct corrals, devise training techniques, develop increasingly sophisticated equipment to keep horses under our command. And we perceive this as progress, as an evolution in the human-equine relationship. But the inconvenient truth that behavioral science is progressively unveiling is this: the more we attempt to dominate, the more the horse withdraws, not physically, necessarily. You can keep a horse restrained, controlled, obedient, but emotionally, psychologically, it retreats. It erects internal barriers. It ceases to offer its most precious component, genuine trust, voluntary connection, the desire to be near not out of obligation, but by choice. To a horse, a rope held too firmly can be perceived as an attack. Its brain cannot differentiate between the pressure of a rope and the pressure of a predator's teeth on its neck. Both activate the same alarm system. A human shout, to us merely frustration or urgency, is to them a thunderclap, a loud, high-pitched, unpredictable sound, precisely the kind of sound that, in nature, precedes dangerous events, storms, avalanches, attacks. A brusque touch, however well-intentioned, is interpreted by its nervous system as a lurking predator, because predators strike swiftly, without warning, and the horse's body, programmed by millions of years of natural selection, cannot ignore these signals, even though his mind, the part that learns and trusts, knows you're not a threat. His autonomous nervous system has already triggered the fight or flight response before conscious thought can intervene. That's why a confined horse reacts so intensely, so violently, at times. He's not being ill-mannered. He's not testing you. He's not trying to see how far he can push it. These are human interpretations we project onto him. The reality is far simpler and far more urgent. He feels the need to move. Every cell in his body is screaming at him to flee, to create distance, to restore safety. And when he can't, when the ropes, the fences, the walls prevent it, the panic escalates. The heart races even harder. Breathing becomes shallow. Muscles tremble. It's the sensation of being trapped while every instinct screams to run. Imagine yourself in such a situation, confined to a small space while something menacing approaches, and you cannot escape. The terror would be unbearable. For the horse, this is precisely what happens when the freedom of movement is taken away in a moment of fear. And the most curious, the most revealing of all the behaviors, is what happens afterward. When he can finally break free, when the rope snaps, when the gate swings open, when he finds a gap in the fence. Many don't flee far, they don't disappear, they run. Yes, they run desperately in the initial moments, but then, after the adrenaline subsides, after the body releases the pent-up tension, they stop. They take deep breaths, they shake their heads. Sometimes they roll on the ground, shaking their entire bodies, and often they return. They return to the vicinity of the stable. They return close to the human, because what they needed wasn't geographical distance. It was movement. It was the feeling of being able to choose. It was the confirmation that they still had control over their own bodies. They don't run from us. They run from the sensation of losing control of their own bodies. And that difference is everything. Recent research in equine behavior is revealing capabilities that once seemed impossible. Horses perceive micro-variations in environmental energy with astonishing precision. Subtle shifts in barometric pressure, those that precede storms by hours. Low-frequency sounds miles away. Frequencies so low the human ear cannot detect them. Even the electric tension of a fence, when deactivated, can be perceived by them through subtle electromagnetic fields. The horse's sensory system is an evolutionary masterpiece, honed over millions of years to detect danger before it becomes lethal. But there's something even more profound, something that fundamentally reshapes our understanding of what it means to be in proximity to a horse. They discern a human's internal state with unnerving accuracy. Your horse knows when you're agitated, not because it guesses, but because it literally feels it. Your accelerated heartbeat generates minute vibrations in the air, pressure waves your body emits. The scent of your sweat changes under stress, releasing specific hormones that the horse's hypersensitive nostrils instantly detect. The rhythm of your breathing, quicker and shallower when anxious, is picked up by its ears, which function as directional radars. Even the way you move, the tension in your muscles, the stiffness in your gait, all of it is read and interpreted by the horse's nervous system. And it responds. If you approach tense, fearful, insecure, it feels the exact same impulse you are experiencing. I need to get out of here. Something is wrong. If you approach calm, breathing slowly, with fluid movements and stable energy, it understands immediately. I can stay. It's safe. This signifies something deep and transformative. Freedom, for a horse, is not merely being at liberty in a pasture. It is being near someone who allows it to breathe peacefully. It is being in the presence of someone who does not trigger its alarm system. Freedom resides not just in physical space. It lies in the quality of the energy that surrounds it. An enclosure can be a prison or a sanctuary, depending entirely on who is within that space with it. If human presence is a source of calm, consistency, and positive predictability, the horse chooses to remain. If human presence is a source of tension, unpredictability, and chaotic energy, the horse seeks distance, always, not out of malice, but out of survival, because its body is programmed to withdraw from what triggers fear and gravitate towards what offers security. Now you understand why some horses perform seemingly impossible feats. They shatter gates with their hooves. They break restraints that should be unbreakable. They unlatch locks with their muzzles, solving mechanical puzzles that baffle even their handlers. They learn to unlatch bolts, to lift containment poles, to push gates at specific angles. They are not being mischievous. They are not trying to annoy you. They are responding to a biological language older than any fence humanity has ever constructed. If I can move, I am alive. If I can reclaim my freedom of choice, I am safe. Every escape attempt is not rebellion. It is self-preservation. It is an intelligent organism striving to reclaim what evolution has taught. It is essential for survival. The right to move when the body calls for movement. Perhaps, At their core, horses remind us of something we have long forgotten, something we lost in the process of building cities, creating rules, domesticating not only animals, but ourselves. That freedom is not doing whatever one wishes at any given moment, but living without the constant fear of being who one is, without needing to suppress every natural impulse, without feeling that every spontaneous movement will be punished or restrained. The horse does not seek to flee from the human. That is the great revelation. It seeks to remain whole in their presence. It seeks the possibility of expressing its nature without that meaning abandonment or rejection. And when the human finally learns to offer this, when they learn to offer calm instead of control, presence instead of pressure, acceptance instead of domination, the horse responds with the rarest of gifts, genuine trust, not mechanical obedience, not forced submission, but a voluntary choice to remain, to approach, to lower its defenses. Look at it now, with those new eyes that understanding affords. See its chest expanding gently with the breeze, each breath deep and tranquil. The body is no longer on high alert. Muscles are relaxed. Posture is soft. The gaze is not fixed on potential threats, but resting on the landscape or on you. The heart beats at a slow, steady rhythm, synchronized with your own heart if you are calm. This is shared freedom. It is two beings, so different in form yet so alike in need, finding a space where both can simply be, without fear, without tension, without the incessant need to prove something, control something, dominate something, just existing together, in a harmony that nature has always known how to create, but that we humans must relearn each generation. And that horse, standing there before you, breathing peacefully, is your teacher on this journey back home. Share in the comments. Have you ever witnessed your horse react to the mere feeling of being confined, even when there was no physical danger? How does he transform when he finally realizes he is safe, that he has choices, that no one will impede his natural movements? These stories matter, not just to you, but to everyone on this path of truly understanding these extraordinary animals. And if this reflection has resonated with something within you, if it has illuminated something you've always sensed but could never articulate, subscribe to this channel to continue this profound journey of comprehension. Because each time we grasp what freedom truly means for a horse, each time we opt to offer calm instead of control, we are reminded of what it means to be truly free ourselves. And that is the greatest lesson these ancient beings can impart to us.